because I refuse to not be first.
Do we do enough? Well, I never shut up about it.
It must have been about 16, 17. We nicked their guilt rings. Right, the bouncers' guilt rings.
This is no good for me. That's the reality. If you want the honest truth, and I see it every day.
This is Colin McGregor for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. I think you're wearing the same outfit that I seen you in the other night, Tom Hardy. How you feeling? Good?
It's different, mate. I changed the t-shirt. It's a different t-shirt, but the rest of the outfit is the same. And to be honest, I'm away for 2 weeks, and I'm useless at packing. So I literally wear the same thing. Is that all right?
It's all right with me, mate. Exactly the same, so it's fine. Don't worry.
Thanks, man.
I want to touch on last week. Is it fair to say that it was disappointing in New Orleans in terms of the whole event? Not what you'd hoped for?
Yeah, look, the reality is when you're doing 40-odd shows a year, sometimes they just don't gel. Prograis Zorilla. Zorilla had a great fight against Barboza. We thought he'd come to fight. I think he's ruined his career with that performance, is the reality as well. The main event left something to be, to inspire you, didn't it? Giasov maybe wasn't the most entertaining. The Ramlarelli fight, although it didn't go the way, she showed a lot of heart, and that was a brilliant fight. The fight just prior to that, the local fight ended in, it was entertaining. But yeah, look, sometimes it doesn't always gel. That's the reality of it. You can make some of the best cards, you can book some of the best fighters together. Sometimes that happens. That's life, that's sport. But we move on. We got a massive week this weekend in New York. Edgar Balang makes his Matchroom debut. So, that's the joy of doing shows every week, is you can improve it the next week.
Let's touch on Prograis first. Is it likely that we see Prograis and Devin Haney next? Have talks begun for that?
Yeah, look, I think, you saw Bill Haney there, seen a lot of messages online around the fact that that's the fight Devin Haney wants. Look, the other thing is sometimes with a performance like that, it helps make those types of fights. Because Devin Haney will look at that going, that's the fight I want. I want to take Regis Prograis at 140 pound, win another world title. Obviously, I believe Regis Prograis in against the best will show, his ability. Devin Haney's a tremendous fighter as well, but sometimes those kind of performances do help make those fights happen because, he'll look at that and go, I can beat him. But yeah, that's definitely a discussion that's happening. I think the Haneys are coming in again this week to the New York show, so let's see. It would be a massive fight.
Will Devin Haney be here this week too?
I think possibly. Definitely Bill. I think Devin will be here as well. So I look forward to catching up with him.
Berlanga Wigley, Madison Square Garden. This is Edgar Berlanga's Matchroom debut. What can we expect from Edgar Berlanga, and does it have to be a dominating, explosive performance from him?
Yeah, look, I think, like you say, it has to be dominating and explosive. He needs to go in there and show why he deserves to be at the top of that division, and going in there against the best guys in the division. He wants the biggest fights. Everyone knows about his career and what he did, knocking people out left, right and centre in the early rounds. And then I think he had a bit of a tougher fight in his last one out. But look, he's a tremendous fighter. He got a lot of skill, and we're delighted we signed Edgar Berlanga. I believe you're going to see a tremendous performance on Saturday. He's back with his old trainer, who he started out with. And I think you're going to see a brilliant fighter. I think he's got huge potential. He's a big star as well. He has a massive following, celebrity following. Be a sold-out arena come Saturday night as well. So yeah, looking forward to getting started, and then the aim from here to make those big fights.
You talk about making those big fights. He wants Canelo. He wants Canelo or Charlo. It looks like Charlo's done next. What have you heard about that?
Yeah, but I've seen the same as you would have seen, the internet rumours. Again, about Canelo Charlo, they're saying September 16th. I'm not sure if it is that date because I think the UFC are doing a show that day as well. But let's see. It's a interesting fight. People are going to be very intrigued by it. So let's see if that happens. Like I said the other night, we'd love to continue working with Canelo. We've had some great nights with him, and I'm sure we will in the future.
Is that Berlanga-Canelo fight definitely a possibility probably next year then?
Yeah, possibly. Look, Belanga's got to show a big performance. In order to get that fight, he's got to come out there and get a big win. If he has an exciting performance against Jason Wigley, then that's just round the corner. So I can definitely see that happening in 2024.
I want to touch on Saturday. Victor Conte tweeted to say that there was no drug testing for Prograis Zorilla. Can you confirm or deny that?
Well, look, there's always drug testing, especially with the WBC fights, because you've got the WBC clean boxing program, which is a drug testing procedure which is administered by VADA. That's 365 days a year. Anyone who's fighting for a WBC title or in the WBC rankings is enrolled to it. So, that should answer his question. I'm not sure why he's got such a hard on for us about it, but yeah, hopefully that answers his question.
We'll move on to the Dillian Whyte rumours that he's asked for 10 million. There's a 7 million gap. You've offered him 3. Is there any truth to that?
Let's look. He has a value he sets upon himself. I'm not saying it's 10 million, but we don't feel that fight's likely for August. And a lot of the time it comes down to finances. But it's not for me to. It would be a great fight to make, but everyone has their own set value. So that's all I'd say.
What's the likely fight to make then if that is not the one that we'll see in August for Anthony Joshua?
We're working through a few options now. We're working through a few names, going back and forward with the team, looking to select the right type of opponent as well that makes sense for AJ, bearing in mind the very likely Deontay Wilder fight that's going to come around in December. So we're going through that process now and hopefully have some news soon later this week for August 12th.
So is it likely that we'll get that announcement this fight week?
I'd hope so. In the next, either this week or start of next week. Yeah, that's the plan, and looking to put on a huge card at the O2 on August 12th.
We've seen a bit of back and forth with Simon Jordan and Eddie on the comments on Ben Eubank. Simon kind of went in again on TalkSport and had a lot to say about that. Any more comments about Simon Jordan and this whole Ben Eubank fiasco?
I love Simon Jordan. Great guy. I'm not going to say anything more negative about him apart from the fact he's a hypocrite and only puts it on certain people but doesn't seem to put it on Frank Warren or Ben Shalom. But apart from that, good luck, Simon Jordan. Enjoy your show.
On Ben Shalom, he done an interview yesterday, but he also, I think he might have tweeted out that Eubank Smith is next and he's not sure about the Eubank Ben rumours. Have you any comment to make on that?
He says a lot of things that aren't necessarily true. So, look, the Eubank Smith fight is still a potential fight for sure. I don't represent Chris Eubank, but obviously discussing the potential of the Eubank Ben fight. But yeah, I take everything he says with a pinch of salt.
Seen some comments last week, Oscar De La Hoya and yourself. You had a little bit of a pop at Oscar on Saturday night, unlike you, Frank. But we've also seen the rumour that Jaime Munguia and Ryder's possible next. Charlie Sims was talking about that on an interview. Does that make it tough for you to make that fight because of the Oscar comments, or is it easy enough because you're both on the same platform?
No, I don't think you should make it tough. I messaged Eric Gomez about it last week and said, look, that would be a great fight for Munguia, obviously coming off the back of the Derevenchenko win. As you say, both being on the same platform, hopefully that makes it easier. Look, how many things have been said about people in the past? Fights still get made, is the reality. Oscar hasn't liked or has said things about Eddie for years. We still make fights. And you have to look at the wider teams involved as well. It's not just necessarily about the front men of these business, or it's about the teams who work together. We have great relationships with almost every promoter out there in some way at all different levels, whether it's our media teams, whether it's our matchmakers, the boxing side of the business. We work together. So I think sometimes characters coming together can make it a bit more difficult, but there's always people in a team who a lot of the time we just want to make fights that make sense. And if they make sense for our fighters, their fighters, then I believe it can get done regardless of all the rubbish around it.
Where and when could we see Munguia against Ryder?
Look, it's early days. I sort of sent a message, waiting to hear back. Eric Gomez said he'd follow up with the team, waiting to get some feedback from him. I think it's a brilliant fight. We saw what John Ryder went in and did against Canelo, showed so much heart, and I think it's a perfect fight. He built a massive fan base off the back of that performance, showing, because that's what the Mexican fans loved, is that someone went in there and he gave it his all. And so many fighters in that position would have quite easily quit, but John Ryder didn't have that in him. And I think if we can make that fight, it's a brilliant fight. Hopefully the latter part of the year, October, November time. Is
it true that Jermaine Franklin has one more fight left on a matchroom deal?
Yeah, he might actually have 2. I need to double check. I think he may have 2. We're just working with speaking to them at the minute about when that next one is. But yeah, hopefully some news soon.
Would he be a likely opponent down the line for the likes of Fabio Wardley potentially?
Yeah, possibly. Look, Jermaine Franklin's built a name for himself now off the back of the Dillian Whyte and AJ fights. He's shown how tough he is. And I'm sure a lot of heavyweights will want to go in there and see if they can better the performances that Dillian and AJ had against him.
2nd of September, you're doing a show in the UK. Where will that show be?
We're looking at it now. There's also potential of the Joyce Zhang fight falling on that date, so we may look to move the date a little bit. Look, we're always cautious of clashes. Like I say, sometimes it can't be avoided, but at certain points, if we've got long enough time frames, we can look at what we do. There's old Parsons dressed up for the day.
Sandy Ryan, Jessica McCaskill, agreed terms. When and where will that fight land?
Probably looking around September time on one of our shows. We're working on a full schedule now. Until the end of December, we're planning on it, putting the plans together with DAZN currently. So that will fall on one of those shows in the sort of September period, I'd say, roughly. But a great fight. Jessica McCaskill obviously been in the game for a long time, and had some great performances. But Sandy Ryan, I think she's a tremendous fighter and got a massive future. So a big fight to get over the line.
I'm going to ask you some different type of questions here. You consider yourself the best in the game at Matchroom, rightfully or wrongfully so, that as a business you feel that you're unrivaled really out there. In terms of what you do at Matchroom, what needs the most improvement in the business?
I think every element of our business can always use improvement. We always thrive to improve, and that's what we're lucky with, really, is every week we get to do shows all around the world, and every week we get to improve upon the mistakes of the week before. And every week I walk out and go, yeah, this is good, or this is bad, But we don't get complacent in anything we do in any part of our business. It's literally 24/7, and always has been, and always will be until the day that I'm not involved in boxing. That's led by the way Barry's run a business, then Eddie, and I've got the same mentality as well. So, I believe we're unrivaled on a global scale of what we're doing in boxing, but I believe there can always be improvements made. Whether that be the content side, the boxing side, the relationship, it's constantly evolving and developing, and that's what every business needs.
Is there pressure from DAZN for Matchroom to put pay-per-view events on in the UK?
No, look, there's not direct pressure. They want, if the right fights present themselves that are pay-per-view, obviously DAZN are interested. They've shown that they've got a great platform that works and can deliver massive numbers on pay-per-view. And will continue to do that over the years. So, they're not ringing the phone down saying you must do X, Y, Z. They want the right fights that work for pay-per-view. At the same time, they want the best fights as well for their subscription platform. So that's, we're constantly discussing. We have a real strong open dialogue with DAZN, almost weekly, going through schedules. And that's, like I say, we're working on a long-term schedule because we want to deliver value for our subscribers on an annual basis. So, that's... We're in a good place, and we'll continue to be so. And we will always look to stage the best pay-per-view fights, of course. But at the same time, it's about the overall products as well and delivering the best schedule.
Any more on Eubank, Ben? Are we close to a definitive announcement on a date and venue?
Still ongoing. Talks are still ongoing. It's not done. There is still a chance that it could be Eubank against Smith. That's what, but it's not set but by no means. It could be another fight. Smith has come out as well and said, if I don't do this, I'm going to do something else. So I think they've all got options. But I think the clearest and sort of biggest fight out there is Eubank Ben. It's the fight people want to see. And it's that's our aim to make that happen. As I said the other day, I've worked on it for nearly a year now. So I bloody hope it happens because I'm not going to get that year back.
Saudi in December, what kind of date are we looking at in December? And do we have any idea on a pay-per-view price for that? Because obviously it does depend if Fury Usyk's on the same bill, right?
Yeah, look, if they deliver Fury Usyk and AJ against Wilder, I'm not sure what the pay-per-view price will be. I'm not sure what the pay-per-view price will be anyway. Essentially the Skill Challenge would operate and own the broadcast rights like they did last time. I don't think we're at that point now setting pay-per-view prices just yet. Discussions are ongoing. It's a massive show if it can be delivered, and working on that for a date in December to be confirmed. But hopefully in the next couple of weeks we'll get some clarity on it. But it's definitely 100% our aim to make the Wilder fight for December.
Final one from me, Mauricio Lara. What's the options next for him? Is there anything that you're thinking of at the moment?
Yeah, look, we spoke to I've actually got a call with his manager today. he wants to come back at 126 pounds. And I obviously didn't make the weight, but he wants to come back there, potentially look at a Mexico fight. You know, another one that we've raised is possibly the Caldina fight. So let's see. But look, he's always in entertaining fights. He always will be an entertaining fight. So I look forward to, whatever his next moves are.
Frank, thanks for your time. Really appreciate it, man.
Thank you, Colin McGregor.
Because I refuse to not be first.
Do we do enough? Well, I never shut up about it.
And it must have been about 17, 16, 17. We nicked their guilt rings. Right, the bouncer's guilt ring.
This is no good for me. That's the reality. If you want the honest truth, and I see it every day,